The next item on the agenda is a debate entitled New Chinese Law on Ethnic Unity and Progress and the Intensified Suppression of Ethnic Identities. I give the floor to Danusia Nerudova.
Dear colleagues, what China calls a law for ethnic unity is, in truth, a law for assimilation and ethnic erasure. It imposes Mandarin and forces state ideology and extends China reach beyond its own borders, threatening anyone, anywhere. This law doesn't target one community, it targets many. The Uyghurs have endured mass detention and cultural destruction. The Mongolians have lost their language in classrooms, and the Hui face restrictions on their Islamic practice. Each of these communities deserve to be named, each deserves our solidarity. But today I speak with particular urgency about Tibet. The Tibetan people are not a problem to be solved by Beijing. They are an ancient civilization whose culture must be protected. And let me be clear, the succession of Dalai Lama is a sacred religious matter determined by Tibetan Buddhist tradition alone. No Communist Party officials has the authority to decide it. Dear colleagues, the EU relationship with China cannot be built on looking away. Europe stands with Tibetan people, with Uyghurs, with Mongolians, and with all who are being silenced. Thank you.
Hannes Heide.
Hannes Heide.
Vizepräsident, Frau.
Thank you, Vice President. Commissioner. If this new law from the People's Republic of China aims at ethnic unity, then what is at stake is mass assimilation and the systematic restrictions on language, culture, and religion. It will affect minorities such as Tibetans, Uyghur, Manchus, and Mongolians. If we look at Tibet, we can see that the cultural identity and religious traditions are increasingly being repressed. That is why we are calling for the repeal of this law. We are calling for the release of political detainees, including the Sakharov Prize winner Ilam Tohou and the 11th Panchen Lama Gedum Chokin Yema, the Tibetan Buddhist teacher Chokul Dorje Ten Rinpoche, and the Tibetan monk and the Mongolian activist Hada. In the dialogue with China, we need to consistently stand up for human rights and make it clear that the successor of the Dalai Lama is not a political decision, it is a purely religious matter. And we must also ensure that we protect people in Europe from persecution on the basis of this law. Europe stands for cultural diversity, protecting minorities and human rights.
Mariusz Kaminski.
Mariusz Kaminski.
Ladies and gentlemen, the law on ethnic unity and progress is another example of a brutal violation of human rights by the communist authorities in China. It strikes at the fundamental right to maintain one's own national, cultural, religious identity. Forced assimilation is affecting Tibetans, Uyghurs, Manchus, and other national minorities. The provisions remind us of the worst practices of the Cultural Revolution in China. They force communist ideology on children, but they also encourage them to report on incorrect, inverted commas, attitudes from their own parents. The bill also refers to Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan and creates a basis on which cross-border repression can be carried out. It's legislation which reminds us that communist China is a totalitarian country which is a threat for the whole world.
Dainius Salimas.
Dear colleagues, the joint resolution proposed for tomorrow's voting is firmly grounded in customary international law, to which China itself is bound and which protects the identity and rights of ethnic and religious minorities. Yet China's new law on the promotion of the so-called ethnic unity and progress will further intensify assimilation of Tibetans, Uyghurs, Mongolians, and other minorities. It is particularly alarming that this law claims extraterritorial reach, enabling persecution even beyond China's borders. We must be clear in our response. We urge China to repeal this law and uphold its obligations under international law. If it does not happen, we call on the Council to impose EU sanctions targeted on those responsible for drafting and implementing the new law. Our main message is that enforcement of this law has inevitably to lead to severe consequences for EU-China relations, because it follows from the Treaty on the European Union that we must promote the protection of human rights and the respect to international law in our external relations. Thank you.
Catarina Vieira.
Dear colleagues, with the adoption of the law on the promotion of ethnic unity and progress, China is taking another step to intensify the repression and forced assimilation of Tibetans, Uyghurs, Mongolians, Hui, and Manchus. This law does not promote unity, it shrinks the space for diversity. While it claims equality, the law strips minorities of their right to learn their own languages, forcing them to abandon their mother tongues in favor of Mandarin. And even more concerning, provisions in this law risk the criminalization of peaceful expression, dissent, or advocacy for minority rights. The impacts do not stop at the border of China, and it seriously risks even more transnational repression also for those living here in the European Union. Persecution, cultural erasure, and serious human rights violations are severely straining the EU-China relations. This Parliament condemns the repression of China on its people and calls on China to repeal the law and release its political prisoners. We also call on EU member states to impose sanctions on those who infringe human rights and to suspend the extradition treaty with China to protect nationals living in the EU. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. Jonas Sjöstedt.
Tack så mycket, herr talman.
Thank you very much, President. We have to believe the Chinese propaganda. They say that Tibet has autonomy, but if you look at what's happening in practice, that's not the case. In Tibet, Tibetans cannot express themselves in Tibetan or use their promote their culture. There are protests because they're being obliged to speak Mandarin. But there is even worse pressure in Xinjiang. More than 1 million Uyghurs have had to be subject of assimilation. Women have been sterilized. They're trying to stifle their culture. China has to meet its obligations.
Thank you, President, Commissioner, colleagues. To be very clear, the strategic compass of the European Union identifies and defines China in 3 dimensions towards the European Union: as a strategic partner, an economic competitor, and also as a systemic rival. And as everybody knows who ever had encounters with Chinese officials, the systemic rivalry is something very much disliked by our Chinese counterparts. But this very debate today, and the reason for this debate, shows there is a different system. There is systemic rivalry. It's just unacceptable from a European perspective to have minorities persecuted. Assimilation is unacceptable from a European perspective, also due to Europe's history, the values Europe represents. At the same time, we live in a world of more and more of confrontation, and Europe's success story is based on cooperation. To the inside, and I think Europe's outreach to the world must also be one of cooperation, especially in these times where more and more world powers seek for more of confrontation. We have to be able to defend ourselves, we have to be more resilient, we have to be more independent, we have to increase our independence and our diversification of risk, especially when it comes to China. But we also have to reach out our hand for cooperation where it is possible, where reciprocity is possible. And of course, this applies also to China, because China will be around. China will be an influential factor for Europe. And if we want the best for Europe and for the world, this cooperation on a positive basis will be important. And also, if we want to change something about persecution of people, of minorities, of ethnicities, of religions within China, also the cooperation approach will provide the better leverage.
Merci. Francisco Assis.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Caras e caros colegas, a Lei da Unidade Étnica.
Thank you, President, ladies and gentlemen. The law on ethnic unity and progress is a law to assimilate the different minorities that exist in China. It's opening the door to an arbitrary approach. This is legislation which is typical of a totalitarian regime. Diversity is an obstacle that has to disappear. I met Tibetan diplomats, and they said they're extremely worried about what is happening. Of course, Europe has to adopt a position. We have to take a stance. And of course, it goes without saying that we have to protest against this law. There are those who think that China and the US are on an equal footing, but to them I say that is wrong, that is not possible.
Frau Kommissarin.
President, Commissioner, the ethnic unity law brings us once together to be dealing with China, and not in a positive way. Imagine an EU Council would decide on the ethnic unity of the EU. What would that mean for France or for Austria? What would it mean for our Basque colleagues in Spain? Ethnic unity is not something that we have good experience with in Europe, and we want to learn from our mistakes. We need to be able to make China comply with international law. Ethnic unity means no more languages, no more different cultures, and that is a problem of international law. And China has acknowledged international law and asked other countries to comply with international law.
Commissioner Hajjalabi.
Merci, Monsieur le Président, honourable members. As President von der Leyen mentioned in this House last July, shortly ahead of the last EU-China summit, the EU's relationship with China is one of the most defining and consequential. As part of this relation, we engage with China while also putting forward our demands and our concerns. And this applies to the area of human rights. China's new law on promoting ethnic unity and progress, which we are discussing today, may further restrict the rights of persons belonging to ethnic, linguistic and religious minorities in China. Such rights should be upheld in line with international human rights standards and with China's own commitment within the United Nations framework. The Constitution of the People's Republic of China itself provides for equality among ethnic groups and for the protection of minority languages and cultures. The EU will therefore continue to call on China to respect both its international and constitutional commitments. While one of the stated objectives of the law is that of promoting high-quality development in ethnic minority regions, let me recall that development can only be sustainable and inclusive when it respects the dignity, identity and rights of all people and persons belonging to different communities.
measures that weaken minority languages use, reduce cultural space, and or interfere with freedom of religion or belief risk undermining precisely the diversity they claim to protect. There is also serious concern about the law's potential extraterritorial implications. The EU opposes the extraterritorial application of the third country legislation in breach of international law and consistently calls on all third countries to refrain from attempts to conduct transnational repression, whether within the EU or elsewhere. Like relevant UN human rights treaty bodies, the EU will continue to monitor development closely and raise concerns where necessary, both bilaterally with China and in relevant international fora. When it comes to the succession of the Dalai Lama, the EU remains of the view that the selection of religious leaders should happen without any government interference and in full respect of religious norms. This was also recalled during the 40th EU-China Human Rights Dialogue that was held in Brussels on 13 June 2025. On Tibet, the EU remains gravely concerned by the human rights situation there, including restrictions on freedom of religion or belief, the preservation of cultural identity, and the rights of religious communities to manage their affairs without interference and to freely choose their religious leader. And we will continue to call for credible information on the whereabouts and well-being of the 11th Panchen Lama. Rest assured that the EU will continue to urge China to take concrete steps to address concerns relating to human rights, cultural, linguistic and religious rights and respect for international law, including at the highest political level during EU-China summits, other high-level meetings and the EU-China human rights dialogue. Thank you.
Le débat est clos. J'ai reçu...
That closes the debate. I've received 6 draft resolutions and the vote will take place tomorrow.